What's going on, guys? TWJ back with another trade recap, and this is from last night's New York AIM session, and we made a little bit over 12,500 Australian last night trading, and let's get into it. So let's start on the daily here, and my whole objective is for this daily gap to get tapped into right here. I don't think we can go much lower without taking this gap, and if we do come down and take this low, I think we're going to come back up and take this gap. So this gap is one of my objectives, but I am long-term bearish for these lows down here, and this is not an SMT low either. So long-term, I'm looking for this low. However, what draws have to get taken before going to that low, right? So we've taken out this wick low here. So if we go down on the hourly, on the 4 hour. So we've taken out this low right here. So instead of just dumping to this low, I'm thinking coming into the session that will come up, rebalance, and then make our way down to my original draw. So that's going on the 4 hour. There's no imbalances to fill. Let's go on the 1 hour. And now on the 1 hour, we did have these two highs. Bang, bang. These two highs right here. Now, keep in mind, this was in a 1 hour gap. So these highs up here are quite high resistance liquidity, okay? Now, if we traded through this gap and then kept going, then yes, I'd be inclined to take trades to these highs. However, these highs here are much easier to get than this high up here. So, knowing that we want this daily gap up here, I can, and we also have a large 1 hour imbalance, I definitely see price coming up here. So we'll drop down timeframes. Clearly still coming into market open. We want these two highs. And yeah, so the first trade here, we'll go down the 5 minutes, go down the 1 minute. All right, so this is what we're looking like coming into market open. We can get rid of this gap here. We don't need to know this. So pre-market, we had a massive bullish candle up, two bullish candles up, which left this range high. Now, I thought because I'm collecting data on this, and the last few Mondays, we've just shot off open. So I was willing to take a trade off open if we closed above this gap, which we did. And we already had that manipulation move down into this gap here. So to me, I didn't think we had to come down to this low, which we ended up doing, to go higher. I felt like off open would take these highs and would just keep ripping higher. It would just be more like that off open. So you wouldn't get a chance to get in. So I took my first trade before open, and I was hoping for the, pre-market, so market open volatility to take me over the line. However, it simply just wasn't the case. So off open, we come up and we take these highs perfectly, but I have trailing drawdown on my accounts. So once this took up here, I think I was up 3K, and then it come back down to break even, which stopped me out. So this was the first trade of the day, and it was a riskier trade, more of a intuition trade, where off open I was hoping just to rip up. We had nothing else to manipulate into. We've already manipulated these lows down here, these relatively equal lows here. I didn't think we had to come down and take these lows here. So off open, that was our first L, which is fine. If we did wait, I would have probably taken this trade here, and we would have been trail stop for our buffer. So that would have been fine. So I know I would have got another entry for this, but at this stage, I just wanted to see and let price develop a little bit. Now, after this happened here, there was SMT at the highs with ES at this time. So this is why I didn't take a long again. This was kind of, one of those things where I just wanted to wait for what price wanted to do. We obviously had our draws higher, which was this is our next draw that I was talking about, was in that high resistance area. And then, so we come up here, and then for a while here, we started just slowing down in this kind of accumulation phase here. So what I was expecting to happen was this gap here, which was also a 1 minute, come back into this 1 minute gap, and go higher, right? That's what everyone was thinking. This was just a simple continuation. Now, we did have a large 5-minute gap here. Hold up. Large 5-minute gap here as well before going to this range low. But to be honest, if we're going to go into this and we're going to get a reaction here, here's our reaction. If we keep displacing down here, do you really think price is going to come all the way back up here? No. If price wants to be bullish, we should react off this gap. We should not bearishly go through this gap. We also have a 1-minute order block here that's protecting the bulls, and we're completely just utterly disrespecting it. So for me, we didn't get the reaction that we wanted. So let's play out price a little bit. So I'll just say so right around this area here, when we close this gap right here, that's when I was like, okay, this right here, we just dumped 90 points. Yes, we're inside a 5-minute gap, but I'm not buying it. I'm short. I'm going for shorts. So now we had an open range low to target. We had this low just here, which we didn't even have a wick on, this low here. And then we had my overall draw on liquidity, which was this 4-hour low. So the first trade I took, I actually dropped down to the 15-second for this because I just felt this was just, it was just no time frame that you could actually trade on really. Like you couldn't take this on the 1 minute, it was just too slow. So the first trade I took was here. So this was A+, right? And I'll tell you why. So on the 32nd, this was actually on the 32nd, funny enough. So we'll just drag our stops up here. Right, so we come up, we tag into this small 30-second gap, right, which also took out these 1 minute, 15-second highs, right? This is our manipulation. We also tagged into this order block here, perfectly respecting the 50% mark of that order block. Not something that I was really looking for, but it was just ticking things off, which also come directly break even to people that entered on this inverse. So another really good, just a really good entry point for shorts. Now after this displacement here, we entered into a short position here, and then this ran down to here. Now I trailed my stops because on my accounts I need to trail to my profit target because it's trailing drawdown. So we'll mark it out here. It was roughly around this area. We come up, we get trailed stopped, right? Because I'm not going to let my account go all the way back up here and blow my account because I didn't trail my stop, right? So that's a part of my rules. I still thought this was going to get hit, but it's just something I need to do. Now, that was my first trade, so we got stopped out around a 1R, but I was holding for this initially. Now, as soon as this happened right here, we come back up, we tagged into this gap here, and then we displaced down. We entered into another trade here, which we went break even super early on. I'm trying to, actually no, we didn't enter here. We did not enter here. I'm trying to wait for when we did get in, because this is where our trade was, obviously. Yes, right here. So we did not get back in on this because we got break even. So we're just kind of waiting for price to develop a little bit. If this ran, it ran. And then we took out this high, right? Which also, if we go on the 30-second, this was the 30-second gap again. We've traded through it. Let's see on the 1 minute what we got here, nothing. So this was simply a 15-second trade. And then after taking out this high again and dumping again, we had an inversion here on the 15-second. We had low resistance liquidity, bang, bang, bang. There was absolutely no way in my mind that would come up and trade to this high again. This was getting taken 100%. So then in the next candle, it was all over in one candle, basically. And we took our profits and that was it. Now, something that I am teaching my students to do and myself from now on I think it was just in the heat of the moment. I took the trade because I would have gotten stopped out on my profit target anyway, because you can only make 10k in one day with take profit trader accounts. So even if I held to, let's say, here, I would have gotten forced out of my trade anyway, because my overall draw was here. Now I'm going to show you how I would have trailed. So I would have trailed to this low here. So it needs to be protected. So I would have probably trailed to here, so I lock in my profits. And then I would let price develop a little bit. Right here on this candle here. Hang on, next one. Did we close below? Not yet. We still don't close below. We fail swing this. Okay, so on this candle closure here, I would have trailed down to this high, bang, right there, because we failed to take this high and we're displacing down, right? So we'll keep going. So on this candle closure here, I would have trailed above here, bang, because now we're protected by this order block. So we've got order block protecting our position because we closed below, making this order block here. And this would have just taken out for a full TP. Now, once we got this, I would have trailed again to this high. And this would have taken a full TP for a 5R. However, I couldn't hold for this position, but that's how I am practicing to trail my trades, and how you can hold on for much longer than just a 1R. So yeah, that's kind of what I saw in last night's New York AM session. Hope you guys learned something from this. But if we go on the higher time frame, you just got to see what's going on, see what is low resistance, see what is high resistance, and yeah, go from there. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and we'll go from there. Thank you. Cheers.